ways you stole our names. 400 years since Willie Lynch made the slave. 400 years and we still remain. 400 years of living with Cain. 400 years and we still a slave. Slaving on the job, slaving on the block, slaving in the jail and in our hearts. We are the mighty YAH'S Lions of Yah, praise Yah with me, the righteous, the holy, the creator, the only, the righteous, the holy, the creator, the only. He is our King, our Savior, and our Judge, YAH'S Yahweh is righteous. It's gonna be a new day. It's gonna be a new way. You must think that you're our King, YAH'S for tribe ENT. It's gonna be a new day. It's the beginning of a new way. You could never be our King, YAH'S rep Yah with me. Oh, you could never be my King. Oh, YAH'S for tribe ENT. Oh, it's
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day, bringing to you his great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH of the house of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth, for Yah ordained me to tell you the truth, and this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king, he's our judge, he's our lawgiver, and Yah is our only savior, and not just of Israel. Yah is the savior of the world. And once again, I praise Almighty Yah for giving us this great opportunity to come before you, to bring to you his great and exalted words. Today we will be dealing with, once again, a prophecy of the last days. Prophecy number 4 and 5. And I'm not dealing with prophecy 4 and 5 because I need to hurry up and get finished with it this week. No, the reason why we're dealing with 4 and 5 together is because prophecy 4 and 5 is together. They're two different prophecies, but they are prophecies of the same order. In other words, they're linked with one another. And you'll see what these prophecies are. And we're going to go back to the origin of why these things must come to pass. Of course, before we get into the 4th and 5th prophecy, we first brought to you the very first prophecy. Is the 400-year vision of Abram. And we told you why that prophecy was so significant, relevant today. We also brought to your attention the second prophecy that we felt, that we see, that Yahweh would do after you begin to realize that you have a 400-year sentence. And that is sanctify his great name. For Yah said he had pity on his name. So therefore, you can't talk about your latter end, your 400-year end, without Yahweh making the crooked thing straight. And one of the greatest things that he will straighten out is how we have defiled and polluted his name in the midst of our enemies. And of course, the scripture says in the midst of the heathen. The third prophecy that we brought to you is the fact that Even though Yahweh told us we had a 400-year sentence, and at the end of the sentence he will return and sanctify his great name. But Yahweh, in the history and the annals of the history of the scriptures, never ever sent his people deliverance without some type of shepherd, judge, deliverer, or servant that will represent him. And Yahweh made it crystal clear in this third prophecy that he will raise up his servant unto us. And it is a truth. This is how Yahweh would do. This is his way. This is his thoughts. And Yahweh made it crystal clear the name of this shepherd, this leader, this commander, this prince, this king, this anointed one. He made crystal clear what his name is. And his name is David. All through the scriptures. There is no other name mentioned out of the mouth of Yahweh where he was seeing someone in these last days at the end of 400 years, at the time that he would sanctify his great name. There's only one that he said he was seeing, and his name is David. Now we're here to bring you prophecy number 4 and 5. Because once Yahweh shepherd and servant is revealed, and everything that Yahweh do, Yahweh say in the book of Amos, the 3rd chapter, the 7th verse, surely Yahweh will do nothing but what he first revealed unto his servants, the prophets. He will do nothing. So whomever this might be, make no mistake about it, Yahweh will reveal who that might be. And then a lot of times, a lot of people will try to guess. And you can't guess this because Yahweh made it clear that he don't see as man seeth. Man look on the outer parts, but Yahweh looketh upon the heart, the inward parts. Man don't have that wisdom. Man don't have that maturity. Or the power to do what Yahweh will do. And I want to show you something right before we get right into the heart of the next two prophecies. I just want you to see this in the book of 1 Samuel, the 9th chapter. Speaking of when Yahweh raised up his servant. Right before we get into Prophecy 4 and 5. I'll make that 1 Samuel, the 8th chapter. In 1 Samuel, the 8th chapter, the 21st verse, and this is what it says. And Samuel heard all the words of the people and rehearsed them in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh said to Samuel, listen to their voice and make them a king. And Samuel said to the men of Israel, go you every man to his city. Our people asked for another king. They asked for a king, like all the other nations. But Yahweh was their king. This displeased Samuel. It even displeased Yahweh because they rejected Yahweh and they would rather have a man instead of Yahweh. And even though Samuel told them the type of man that they will get, I want you to see this. Show you the type of people Israel is. 1 Samuel, the 8th chapter still. The 9th verse, 1 Samuel 8 and 9. Now therefore listen to their voice. However, yet protest solemnly to them and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of Yahweh to the people that asked of him a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, captains over 50s, and will set them to plow his ground, to reap his harvest, to make his instruments of war, instruments of his chariots. He will take your daughters to be confessionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. He will take your fields and your vineyards, your olive groves, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. He will take the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards, give them to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and maid servants, your best young men, your donkeys, and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep. You shall be his servants, and you shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you shall have chosen you. And Yahweh will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel. And they said, no, but we will have a king over us. So irregardless how bad the king will be, they will rather have this bad king than rather have Yahweh. Because they want it to be like everybody else. And I want you to pay close attention to that, because why do you think people go around telling you you don't have to keep the law? Why do you think they're telling you you don't have to keep the Sabbath day? Why do you think they go around telling you things that's not even in the book of Yahweh? because in truth, our people don't want the righteousness, the goodness, the truth of Yahweh. They would rather have deceit, lies, deception, and the precepts of man. This is all through our history. And I wanted you to see that. But what is the point? What is the main point that I want you to see? The main point I want you to see, even though this is what the people asked for, and Yahweh gave the people what they asked for, I want you to see what happens when Yahweh sends someone to his people, as he said he would do. When they have his spirit. So in the book of 1 Samuel, the 10th chapter, so you can see this for yourself. The 10th, 1 Samuel 10 and 1. Then Samuel took a vial of oil, poured it upon his head, speaking of Saul, kissed him and said, "Is it not because Yahweh has anointed you to be captain over his inheritance? When you have departed from me today, then you shall find 2 men by Rachel's scepter in the border of Benjamin at Zelzah. And they will say to you, the donkeys which you went to seek are found. And lo, your father has left the care of the donkeys and sorrows for you, saying, what shall I do for my son? Then shall you go on forward from there, and you shall come to the plain of Tabor, and there shall meet you 3 men going up to the Elohim to Bethel, one carrying 3 kids, another carrying 3 loaves of bread, another carrying a bottle of wine." And what did we tell you the 3 represent? Well, it represent his servant that was speaking his name. And watch what it says. "And they will salute you and give you 2 loaves of bread, which you shall receive of their hands. And after that, you shall come to the hill of Elohim, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And it shall come to pass, when you have come there to the city, that you shall meet a company of the prophets coming down from the high place with psaltery and tambourine and pipe, harp before them. They shall prophesy." And watch this 6th verse. "And the Spirit of Yahweh will come upon you, and you shall prophesy with them, and shall be turned into another man. And let it be, when these signs have come to you, that you do as the occasion serves you, for Elohim is with you." And this is what happened. See, whoever you see today is who you see. But there's going to come a time when Yahweh will raise someone up, put his spirit upon them, and make no mistake about it, they will be another man. And what is it that this man whom Yahweh will raise up to do? What is he prophesy? to do for Yahweh. And let me tell you what it is. What this man is prophesied to do is to reunite the two tribes or two separated families of the children of Israel, which is prophecy 4 and 5. And watch the origin of how we got into the predicament and condition that we find ourselves in that must be fixed. Because Yahweh said the crooked things will be straightened out. And watch this in the book of 1 Kings, the 11th chapter. This is where things began to be broken. And somebody got to fix it. In the book of 1 Kings, the 11th chapter, the very first verse. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of nations concerning which Yahweh said to the children of Israel, you shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their idols. And Solomon clung to these in love. And I noticed every time our people got in trouble, whether it was during the time of the flood, it said the sons of Elohim came unto the daughters of men and chose them whatever they wanted. And Yahweh didn't like it. And it seemed as though that these bad choices that we make with women seem to plague us a great deal. Look at Adam. He didn't have to eat of the tree in which Yahweh told him not to eat of. But he did. And how did he do it? By listening to his wife, hearkening to her over the word of Yahweh. Now, this don't mean you're not to listen to your wives or women by no stretch of the imagination. But it does mean, my beloved brothers, oftentimes your test is not far off. The test that Yahweh will test you with might be right there in your bosom. What about King David? Not just King Solomon. I can just go down the list of great men that have been snared, fallen, and broken. But watch what it says. And he had 700 wives, princes, 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other idols, and his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his Elohim, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after the deity of the Zidonians, and the deity, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh as did David his father. Then did Solomon build high places for the abomination of Moab in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burn incense and sacrifice to their idols. And Yahweh was angry with Solomon, because his heart turned from Yahweh Elohim of Israel, which had appeared to him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other deities, but he kept not that which Yahweh commanded. Therefore Yahweh said to Solomon, for as much as this is done of you, and you have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I've commanded you, I will surely tear the kingdom from you, and will give it to your servant. Notwithstanding, in your days I will not do it for David your father's sake. Now do you see the sure mercies of David? But I will rend it out of the hand of your son. However, I will not rend it away all the kingdom, but give one tribe to your son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I've chosen. So Yahweh said he's going to give him one tribe. And he did. And you'll read about this in 1 Kings, the 12th chapter. Because I want you to see the origin of why the children of Israel were broken, but yet must be reunited. In the book of 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, the very first verse. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had come to Shechem to make him a king. And it came to pass, when Jehoram the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he had fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jehoram dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him. And Jehoram and all the congregation of Israel came and spake to Rehoboam, saying, watch what they say to him. Watch the wisdom that they give him, and watch what happens. Your father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make you the grievous service of your father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve you. That seemed reasonable. And he said to them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father, while he yet lived, and said, how do you advise that I may answer the people? These are old men. These are the elders. And these are the people who advised Solomon. And Solomon had more wisdom than everybody. But these were his counselors. And watch what they say. 7th verse. And they spoke to him, saying, if you will be a servant to this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be your servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that had grown up with him, and which stood before him. And this is still happening today. We got a lot of young people, young women, young men, and you try to advise them and tell them and give them counsel, and they'll just sit there and rebuttal everything that you say. It don't matter that you live 20 years more than them, 15 years more than them, 30 and 40 years more than them. That don't matter. You just old. You just don't know better. You just might be mistaken this time. And the young people show no kind of wisdom. Here it is. We got people that ain't even been an Israelite long tell you serving an idol. You don't even know what an idol is. Talking about pictures or idols. Well, if a picture is an idol, you got one in your pocket. Because there's many pictures on these dollar bills, $10 bills and $20 bills and $100 bills. You got IDs in your pocket with your face on it. If a picture is an idol, get rid of it. Get rid of that money. Get rid of them coins. Get rid of your ID and stop being a hypocrite. But our people are young in knowledge, young in age, and they refuse to listen to the old counsel. But watch what happens with all the ones that came up with this king. 9th verse. And he said to them, what counsel give you that we may answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which your father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that had grown up with him spoke to him, saying, thus shall you speak to this people that spoke to you, saying, your father made our yoke heavy, but make you it lighter to us. Thus shall you say to them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now, whereas my father did load you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father has chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Can't y'all see the foolishness of these young men? Who would answer somebody in that kind of way but a young fool that don't know no better and ain't never lived and did nothing and ain't seen nothing, but yet will sit there and tell the man of years right from wrong. Yahweh see this as a total abomination. And look what it says. 12th verse. So Jehoram and all the people came to Rehoboam the 3rd day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the 3rd day. And the king answered the people roughly and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him. As I might add, our people doing today. And spoke to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Therefore the king listened not to the people, for the cause was from Yahweh, that he might perform him, saying. Because see, if the thing was good from Yahweh, they would have listened to the old men. But because the thing was not good from Yahweh, They listened to the young man. And here it is today. What counsel you think the young people taking today? That he might perform his saying, which Yahweh spoke by IshiYAH, the Shilonite, to Jehoram, the son of Nebat. So when all Israel saw that the king listened not to them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? And neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to your own house, David. So Israel departed to their tents. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Yehudah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jehoram had come again, that they sent and called him to the congregation, made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Yehudah only. And when Rehoboam had come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehudah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of Elohim came to Shemaiah, the man of Elohim, saying, speak to Rehoboam the son of Shalomo, king of Yehudah, and to all the house of Yehudah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, thus says Yahweh, you shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. And they listened therefore to the word of Yahweh, and returned to depart, according to the word of Yahweh. And as you can see, the kingdom, the children of Israel, were split. 10 tribes went under Rehoboam, or Jehoram, and 2, Benjamin and Yehudah, was under Rehoboam, all the way until this very day. But Yahweh prophesied that these two families, these two kingdoms, shall be reunited. And Yahweh let us know how these two kingdoms would be reunited. That's why they're prophecy number 4 and 5. Because the Yehudah and Israel must come back together. The prophecy of Yehudah, the prophecy of Israel, must be reunited to become one people again. And they will. Once Yahweh set up his shepherd. Because what is the job of a shepherd? Is it not to gather the flock and lead them and feed them, as Yahweh said his shepherd would do? And he said he only gave us one shepherd. And let me show you who that shepherd is. Ezekiel 34. And Yahweh let us know in the book of Ezekiel 34. Of course, many of our people believe, most of our people don't even know this story and understand how this family have been broken. But those who do know, for some strange reason, think Yahweh is going to gather his flock without a shepherd. What kind of sense do that make? Yahweh will raise up a shepherd and he won't even do the job that his title entails. What sense does it make being a shepherd without a flock? And you don't bring the flock together and you don't lead them and feed them. Watch what the Creator lets us know in the book of Ezekiel 34. The 21st verse. Because you have thrust with side and with shoulder. Right before I read that, I want to read Ezekiel 34:1. I apologize, because I want you to see why this thing is so great that Yahweh has proposed and prophesied that he would do. Ezekiel 34:1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them. Now you notice it's against the shepherds of Israel. And we got Israelites that tell you that when Israel see they shepherd, they going to be in the land. That don't even make sense. But watch what it says. Prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus says Yahweh unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Shall not the shepherds feed the flocks? Of course they should. You eat the fat. You clothe yourself with the wool. You kill them that are fed, but you feed not the flock. The disease have you not strengthened. Neither have you healed that which was sick. Neither have you bound up that which was broken. Neither have you brought again that which was driven away. Neither have you sought that which was lost. But with force, with cruelty have you ruled them. See, there's shepherds out there, but they false shepherds. And there's shepherds that refuse to do the one thing that Yahweh wanted them to do. And that's to bring his flock together and feed them and nourish them, take care of them, watch over them. Fifth verse, and they were scattered because there was no shepherd. And they became meat to all the beasts of the field. And when they were scattered, let me read that again. And they were scattered because there was no shepherd. And they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. My sheep wandered through all the mountains, upon every high hill. Yes, my flock was scattered upon the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. Now, do you see the controversy that Yahweh have with his shepherds. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of Yahweh. As I live, says Yahweh, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. And I'm going to show you how Yahweh, right before I show you who this one shepherd is and his responsibility, which is Prophecy 4 and 5, let me show you how Yahweh described these shepherds in the book of Isaiah 56. And we're going to go back to Ezekiel 34. But watch what the Creator lets us know in the book of Isaiah 56. Ninth verse. All you beasts of the field come to devour. Yes, all you beasts in the forest. And it sounds like he's talking about four-legged beasts, and he's not. He's talking about two-legged beasts. He's talking about these shepherds that were no shepherds, that was supposed to feed the people, feed the flock, but they fed themselves. Watch what it says. 10th verse. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his own gain, from his own quarter. That's why you got different churches and congregations, connections, because everybody just looking to their own way, their own gain. Come you, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink. And tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant. Yahweh called these shepherds greedy, dumb, ignorant dogs that cannot understand and that can never have enough. Now go back to Ezekiel 34 so you can see for yourself whom Yahweh would choose to be his shepherd, so that Prophecy 4 and 5 can be fulfilled. And what is Prophecy 4 and 5? The reunification of the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah. Watch what it says. Ezekiel 34 and 21. We start at 20. Therefore, thus says Yahweh to them. Behold, I will judge between the fat cattle and between the lean cattle, because you have thrust with side and with shoulder, push all the disease with your horns, till you have scattered them abroad. Therefore will I save my flock, and they shall no more be a prey. And I will judge between cattle and cattle. And I will set up one shepherd over them, because Yahweh don't got time for the foolishness no more. And he shall feed them. Even, my servant David. Who did it say? David. My servant David. Why is that hard to understand? We know this prophecy because David been dead. So why wouldn't Israel, all of Israel, be teaching this same prophecy? They would tell you it's the seed of David, the son of David, the offspring of David, the branch of David. And Yahweh said, my servant David. He shall feed them, and he shall be their shepherd. Who else did Yahweh call to be his shepherd? To gather his flock? No one else. It don't even exist in the scriptures. The only other shepherd Yahweh talk about is false shepherds. And the only true shepherd he talk about other than David is himself. And watch what Yahweh said in his 24th verse. And I, Yahweh, will be their Elohim. And my servant David, not the son of David, not the seed of David, not the branch of David, not the cousin of David, and my servant David, a prince among them. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. And why would you speak anything else other than what Yahweh himself spoke? And what will the shepherd do? Well, let me show you what he will do. In the book of Jeremiah 23. I want you to see this. Oh, before we go to Jeremiah 23, and we're going there, go to the book of Ezekiel 37. In the book of Ezekiel 37, the 15th verse. The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Moreover, you son of man. Now watch what this says. Watch this prophecy. Take you one stick and write upon it for Yehudah. And if you don't know what that look like, I want you to see it. See, you take one stick and you write the name of Yehudah. As is here, you probably can't see it. But the name of Yehudah is written on this. And this is one stick. Write upon it for Yehudah. And for the children of Israel, his companions. And of course, on the back of the stick is the children of Israel. Yehudah on the front, and the companions is on the back, which is Benjamin. And many of the priests. Then it says, then take another stick and write on upon it for yourself the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And here it is, Ephraim, the stick of yourself. And watch what it says. And join them one to another in one stick. As so. And they shall become one in your hand as they are. And when the children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, will you not show us what you mean by these? Say unto them, thus says Yahweh, behold, I will take the stick of yourself, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even the stick of Yehudah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. And the sticks whereon you write shall be in your hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus says Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they have gone, will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. How many shepherds? One shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Yaakov my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, where my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Now do you see what this shepherd must do? This shepherd must reunite Israel as one. And I know our people still don't believe that Yahweh will raise up a shepherd, a man, to do what he has prophesied to do. Well, let's see if the book agree with you or agree with Yahweh. In the book of Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter, the very first verse, woe be unto the pastors. And what's a pastor? Pastor is supposed to be a shepherd. And we already showed you the controversy that Yahweh have in the prophecy that he spoke against the shepherds of Israel. Well, pastor is nothing but a shepherd. Now watch what Yahweh said. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says Yahweh. Why? Because you're supposed to gather the flock. You're supposed to feed the flock. You're supposed to, the flock, the sheep get sick. You're supposed to go to work and try to heal them. One get lost, you're supposed to search them out and see where they got lost at. Who else gonna search it out? Being that you the shepherd. Therefore, second verse, thus says Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. You have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, says Yahweh. Here it is. We got a bunch of shepherds. They can't get together. They can't come together. They can't bring the flock together. As a matter of fact, many of them refuse to bring the flock together because they only look to their own way, their own gain. What's in it for them? And they don't want to lose their flock. But little did they know, the flock didn't belong to them anyway. It belongs to Yahweh. Third verse. And I will gather the remnant. You notice it says remnant, right? And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries where I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds. And they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed. Neither shall they be lacking, says Yahweh. And they just threw this word shepherds, threw an S on that shepherd to make you think it's going to be a bunch of shepherds, when Yahweh have already said he was going to set up one shepherd, even his servant David. So really, I will set up a shepherd over them. And watch what it says. Behold, the days come, if you don't know who that shepherd is, says Yahweh, that I will raise David a righteous branch. Because David is that righteous branch. And I'm going to show you and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, it is him. And a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. And watch what it says. In his days, who? David. This righteous branch, this king. In his days, Yehudah shall be saved. Why in his days? Well, who do you think the shepherd is? Who do you think the prince is? Who do you think the king is? Who do you think the anointed one is? In his days, Yehudah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And why? Because they got a true shepherd now. And someone that will look out for them rather than the flock looking out for the shepherd. What kind of sense do that make? And this is the name whereby he shall be called. Sadiq Yanu, which means Yahweh, our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that they shall no more say Yahweh lives, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh lives, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries where I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. And how will this become reality? How would it become possible? Through Yahweh's servant. Because Yahweh has never, ever delivered, rescued his people from the hand of spoilers, from their enemies, from the heathens, from captivity, without raising up someone that he called his servant. Whether it was Cyrus, Moses, Hadassah, who they call Esther, Gideon, Samson, and yes, David, whom Yahweh has prophesied he will raise up. Also, in the book of Isaiah, the 11th chapter, speaking of prophecy 4 and 5, which is the gathering and the reunification of the 12 tribes. You think they're going to reunite without a shepherd? You think they're going to be delivered and saved without a shepherd? Why you think Yahweh has so much anger towards the shepherds of Israel? Because they are not doing what a shepherd is supposed to do. They want to call themselves Kohen and Rabbi and Nasi and Prince and Chief, but the flock is still scattered. What sense does it make to have all these granular titles and you don't do no work? And your work's supposed to be feeding and gathering the flock. And Yahweh is not going to allow this to stand. The shepherds of Israel must answer to this thing. Isaiah 11th chapter, the first verse. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. Who roots? Jesse. A stem out of who? Jesse. And who is Jesse? David's father. And the spirit of Yahweh shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom, and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahweh, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the kid. The calf and the young lion and the fatted calf together, and the little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The suckling child shall play on the hole of the ass. The weaned child shall put his hand on the poisonous serpent's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh, as waters cover the sea. Watch what it says. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass that in that day that Yahweh will set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And watch what it says now. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. Israel must be reunified. And it's not going to happen when they get home. This will happen before they go home. Because the flock is scattered today, but the flock must be gathered today. And the only way that the flock will be gathered is that Yahweh will raise up his servant who is called the shepherd. No time ever in the annals of history where Yahweh will gather his flock, save his people, deliver his people, and take them out of the hand of spoilers without raising someone up to deliver them. That has never happened. So why in the world do we think is going to happen today? Well, make no mistake about it. It will not. Yahweh has someone, chosen someone, anointed someone for just this time. And let me give you his name again in the book of Psalms 89. So you can see for your own self. In the book of Psalms 89, 19th verse. Then you spake in a vision to your Holy One, and said, I've laid help upon one that is mighty. I have chosen I've exalted one chosen out of the people. And who do it say? I found David, my servant. With my holy oil have I anointed him, with whom my hand shall be established. My arm also shall strengthen him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. And I will beat down his foes before his face, and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. Let's let you know he's going to have worldwide dominion. He shall cry unto me, you are my Father, my Elohim, and the rock of my salvation. Also I will make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. For my mercy will I keep him forevermore, and my covenant shall stand fast with him. His seed also will I make to endure forever, and his throne as the days of heaven. And how long is the heaven? Forever. Well, that's how long his throne will be. And you notice it says, he going to be higher than all the kings. His mercy he will keep forevermore. His covenants shall stand fast with him, and his seed also will I make to endure forever. In other words, in addition to what he's going to do with David, his seed also will endure forever. And watch what he said about his children. 30th verse. If his children forsake my law and walk not in my judgments, if they break my statutes and keep not my commandments, then will I visit their transgression with the rod and their iniquity with stripes. Nevertheless, my loving kindness will I not utterly take from him, nor allow my faithfulness to fail. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that has gone out of my lips. Once I have sworn my holiness that I will not lie to David, his seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon, and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah. Throne forever. There will never be a throne of JC, a throne of any other man other than David. How can Israel even think they will be saved without a shepherd? Israel must be gathered together. And Israel will. In the book of Isaiah 49, one of the greatest things you can do as an Israelite, one shepherd is called to do. Watch what it says in Isaiah 49. The very first verse. Listen, O isles, unto me, and listen, you people from afar. Yahweh has called me from the womb. From the bowels of my mother has he made mention of my name. And he has made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand has he hidden me, and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver has he hidden me. And he said unto me, you are my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. And then I said, I've labored in vain. I spent my strength for nothing and in vain. Yet surely my judgment is with Yahweh and my work with my Elohim. And now says Yahweh that formed me from the womb to be a servant. To be a servant to do what? To bring Jacob again to him. Though Israel is not gathered, yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of Yahweh, and my Elohim shall be my strength. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shouldest be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the preserve of Israel. That means the remnant. That's a light thing. But it must be done. I will also give you for a light to the Gentiles, that you may be my salvation unto the end of the earth. Israel must come together. Israel must gather themselves together, and only a true shepherd will work to bring it to pass. And all the false shepherds, this is how you know they false, because they will make a bunch of excuses why we can't get together, why we can't gather ourselves together, and why they refuse to visit all of Yahweh's flock. Woe unto the pastors. Woe unto these shepherds, says Yahweh. And who is this that tremble at his word? Last scripture. In the book of Psalms. Psalms 50. And rather than Psalms 50, I want to conclude on this scripture. It's in the book of Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter. Something my spiritual teacher showed me and showed many of us, and began to do as Yahweh said, prophesied we should do. In the book of Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter, the 1st verse. People quote it, people say it, but ask yourself, who is doing it? Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O Knesset, not desire. No, it didn't say Knesset. O congregation, not desire. It didn't say that. O nation, not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of Yahweh come upon you, before the day of Yahweh's anger come upon you. Seek you Yahweh, all you meek of the earth, which have worked his judgment. Seek righteousness. Seek meekness. It may be you shall be hidden in the day of Yahweh's anger. So it's up to you. Prophecy 4 and 5. The reunification of the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah. It will happen. Yahweh will raise someone up only if you are prepared to be saved. So until tomorrow, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
Only through you, Yah, I will wait to see another day. And only through you, Yah, I will kneel on my knees to pray. And only through you, Yah, I will receive a blessing. Only through you, Yah, I will praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. Praise your holy name. I can see the many blessings you've bestowed on me, on me, on me. I can see the everlasting light that you have shined on me. Shine on me. Righteous and true, you are so heavenly. You are the King of my heart, and I love you all so much, Almighty. Only through you, Yah, I will wait to see another day. And only through you, Yah, I will kneel on my knees to pray. I will receive a blessing. Only through you, Yah, I will praise your